To the gold prices, which are below 1600 but trading range bound today with no motivation for players to invest. The hopes that the US Federal Reserve will introduce easing seems to be fading, and the gold price is currently trading at around 29,630 in the Indian markets. Very marginal decline coming in there, and the global markets of course have seen a bit of a rebound. We did see prices below 1580, right now holding around 1582 in the markets there. Let's go across then to Mr. Prithviraj Kothari. He's MD Riddhi Siddhi Bullion, and he joins us on a Mumbai phone line. Mr. Kothari, hi, welcome to the show. It hasn't done much today, but the kind of decline that we have seen in the previous week at around 1580, what's your suggestion on how the investors should go about with gold?
You see, the equity market, the currency are in the weak side, and the treasury is always on the negative side. So some pressure is still in the gold side. I think on the downside should be around 1567 or maybe 1550 is the best buying level.
Mr. Kothari,
if you see the Chinese economic slowdown, so it's all pressure on the gold price. But overall, if inflation fear is still there, so I think gold's bullishness is still there.
Mr. Kothari, this current quarter is a bit slow, as you already mentioned earlier on the channel. But what kind of a support level for this quarter are you working with in the Indian markets?
Indian market, Indian rupees in the terms of a price, I think should be around downside around 28,500 to 29,000, because rupee appreciation and depreciation are too fast, it's a volatile. No, I think on the downside should be rupee around 54.50 or 55. So it's come on 28,500 to 29,000 rupees. So I think that level is the best buying level.
Mr. Kothari, how have you seen the silver prices? Because it has been following gold, but we've seen more consolidation come in for silver than in gold. What's your sense? Where are the silver prices?
If you see the long term, I'm silver in the bullish. The short term is the equity market, and the equity market and the data is showing some negative side. So silver, I think some pressure is there, but on the downside, around 26.50 or 26 is the best buying level for the long term. Silver still is the too cheaper than the gold. I am suggest to invest in the silver better than the gold.
Sure. Mr. Kothari, what's been the physical sense in the markets? Are people buying into the markets, or is the
No,
ETF...
now it's slowly, everywhere is the buying happening. Now the disparity is over. Now it's on the premium side is there, also in the gold and also as well as in the silver. There is some demand is still there. Now is this gold and silver is on the positive side. There is no disparity in the market. Before it's almost discounted $15 to $20. Now it's on premium side. So it's slowly, and the monsoon are still going on, and it's demand gradually is coming down.
Sure. Also, Mr. Kothari, where are people investing? Because in the recent days, we've seen physical buying pick up. The ETF buying also has been on the higher side. Where have you advised people buying into?
No, I think you take the money in your hand and wait for the price for the correction. Either in the rupee appreciation or maybe the gold around the 1500 or 1550 level is the best bank level.
All right, Mr. Kothari, we'll let you go at that. Thank you so much for joining us. So some more decline is what you can wait for, and then invest your money is there. And silver is expected to outpace gold or outperform gold in the coming few days. To crude prices there, which have climbed to around $99 per barrel as markets fear a full shutdown of Norwegian oil production, while hopes that China would ease monetary policy also remain supportive for the prices. Investors also remain cautious ahead of the Chinese GDP data later this week, which is likely to show the weakest expansion in 3 years. And Brent crude prices on your screens right now, we've seen nearly 0.5% in the Indian markets, while the international markets also have seen marginal gains coming in there. For strategies then, let's go across to Vijay Vambani. He's author, CEO, BSPLindia.com, and also joining us is Vibhu Ratandhara. He's AVP Commodity Research from Bonanza. Vibhu, hi, let me start with you. Starting with crude prices first, and what's your sense? What do you think you should be doing today ahead of the data release?
Definitely support from the Nigerian strike, and I can say it's support from the Chinese data. Crude likely to bounce back in the evening session, or I can say within a day or two. As long as the Indian market is concerned, 48.20 or I can say 48.75 is quite a reachable level in the coming days, and the stop loss and the support level for the same is somewhere around 4700.
Vijay, would you also say that on charts it does look like we are looking at some support levels in case of crude?
Manisha, there is a positive divergence between the price and the oscillators, but I would want the price to stay above the 4800 on the MCX before I can initiate a fresh buy. Should it remain below the 47.35 or 47.25 levels, I think the bulls are likely to defer their fresh long commitments. So momentum players would rather hitch their wagon to the long side only after 4800. I know it's kind of buying 50 rupees higher, but that's like insurance premium that you're paying to it. Because every time the crude price goes up to 4800 plus, it reacts due to profit sales. Now let's see a close above the 4800 levels before reinitiating a buy.
Vibhu, what's your sense in the precious metal prices? The industry, or as Mr. Kothari was mentioning, you might be looking at further declines coming in, and that's a good time to start buying into that. What's your sense? Waiting for dips or starting buying at these current levels itself?
Definitely waiting for the dips, because if you can see lost of the many data of the last week, or we can say last few days, the more of the things are suggesting to downward side for the precious metals, not only from the Indian rupee side. I think the whole of the scenario is quite on the lingering side. So I think one need to wait for the correction level, and in the domestic market, the good buying level, or I can say for the aggressive buying level, is somewhere around 29,000 level.
All right. And Vijay, what's your sense on silver? Because that is something most people seem bullish on now in the longer term. Are you buying into it again?
I would concur with the bullish view, and I think I would maintain my view that silver should be bought in the physical segment. Buying in the future segment is for rich people. Now that might sound like an anomaly, because the cost of carry in silver is far higher than what you would get from a bank in an FD. And paying this kind of a cost of carry when silver is still consolidating seems like a rich man's affair. I would want to buy futures only above the 54,750 levels, when I can beat the level of cost of carry that I would have to pay, and the statutory execution and brokerage commissions, etc. So I would turn a net buyer in future segment only above 1,500 rally from here. Or on the flip side, should I see a fall to below 52,000 in the futures level, where I would expect a pullback of say 500 to 700 bucks, then I would probably buy in the future segment. But till then, I think buying in the physical segment seems more sensible.
All right. To the base metal section then, which has seen a bit of a decline continue today, while some bit of a support could be coming in from the Chinese inflation data, which has come in less than what the markets were expecting. Vibhu, do you think that would be an impetus enough to start some kind of a rally here?
Definitely, inflation data is quite a supportive for the base metals, but I think against this, we had seen we have to wait for the GDP data, which is likely to come out in the coming weekend. Also, trade data is expected in the weekend. So I think these two are expected quite lower side. As long as GDP data is concerned, already we had expecting it could be somewhere around 3 years low, and of course trade data also on the downside. So this will be a pressure for the base metal prices, and I think copper is 432.50 and 435 is the resistance level. As long as it's not managed to break above 432.50, or I can say 435, selling side could be advisable at every rally.
Vijay, what's your sense in base metal prices? Because today seems to be a slightly better day. Would you think it's an opportunity to buy? Do you see a rebound, or you would sell on these rallies?
I would wait for marginal rallies and then attempt shorts. If conviction levels are lower, then shorting in the mini series would make more sense. But buying at the current levels doesn't make sense, because there's an overhang of overhead supply at higher levels. Unless you see breakouts of over 109 on aluminium, over 950 on nickel, over 108 or 110 on zinc, 107 on lead, I would not turn a buyer. Say 435 odd levels on copper, again, I would not buy till such breakouts are seen. So in the interim, I would not mind attempting to short the aluminium mini series in the July segment at 106 and a quarter, hold that with a stop loss of 106.75. I would expect to book profits at 105 and a quarter. A nickel which has started showing signs of stress and therefore pressure at higher levels, I would not mind shorting the mini series at the 920 levels in the July futures. I would hold these shorts with a stop at 927 and expect to book profits close to 911.
All right, so shorting in base metals is what our experts are doing. Vibhu, thank you so much for joining us. Vibhu is selling into gold and copper, but buying into crude for the intraday market today.